This video is going to be a quick walkthrough of how I made a music track in Ableton Live because I think it's neat and that's what I make my music with. This program is a DAW, which means it's a digital audio workstation, and depending on what version you buy, runs anywhere from $129 to $779. It comes with a large library of additional online music packs you can purchase along with it to get more cool sounds, instruments, effects, and other things if you're interested. Personally, I think Ableton has some of the best sounding instruments, especially through their packs, so that's why I prefer it over its equally as popular rival FL Studio, though Ableton does get a lot of complaints about its unintuitive interface, and I totally get that because as soon as you load it up, you're presented with this screen which you're not even going to be doing most of your work in the first place. So the first thing you want to do is click this tab here to go into your workstation. By default, it loads you with 2 blank MIDI tracks and 2 blank audio tracks. If you're using the Ableton Sound Bank, you're going to be using the MIDI tracks, but if you're using an external instrument and recording that or a mic for voice, then that's what the audio tracks are for. I use an external physical musical keyboard, but I'm not recording keyboard sounds, I'm just using it for input along with Ableton's instruments, so I don't need the audio tracks and I'm just clicking on them and using the delete key to remove them. Likewise, you can use any compatible musical keyboard connected to a USB port in the back of your computer with the correct cable. The Legato I use is connected this way. It's important to note that you do need to have the electric piano plugged in and on to use it with Ableton. Just mute the volume on the keyboard so you don't hear it. But it's not going to do anything if it's not plugged into a power source and turned on. That seems like common sense to me, but I don't know, some people seem really confused by that, so I wanted to mention it. All that out of the way, you can find all your sound bank, MIDIs, instruments, effect tracks, and anything else you have in the program on the left side here. You can right click on any sound and assign a color and group to it if you want to at any time too, like all the ones I made up here, so you can easily find it later on, or just search an instrument in the search bar and it'll pull up all matches you have installed in your version, making it super easy to find something that you're looking for. To preview the sound, all you have to do is click on it and it'll play a quick note. If you have the raw box enabled, it'll play that note once, and if you have it off, it'll repeat the note until it drives you insane. Once you find a sound you like that you want to use in your project, just click and drag it into the scene and you'll be able to start using it to make music with. Depending on the sound and instrument itself, it'll load something like this at the bottom with a lot of individual parameters you can custom tweak to the sound of at any time. Now this is me literally pressing random keys on my keyboard and it's generating that sound in the notes I'm pressing the same way any physical MIDI keyboard would, except it sounds 1,000 times better. Now, there are a few ways to record in this program. The first is the basic record option, which is this button on top. When you're done, just hit the stop button and you can play your note back or edit it or do whatever you want. But I want this instrument to be recorded as an unending loop, so I'm going to use the second record option, which is this one up here. Now I'm playing the notes that I want and hitting stop again when I'm done. Now you won't see the recording on this screen when you do this, but if you play it back, it's there, and you'll have this little orange play pause icon on the top right of the track along with a play bar letting you know that it's there. Now this is going to loop like this forever. I don't want this though, so I'm going to click on that orange icon and that's going to delete it. I'm going to record something I actually do want to use now, so I'm going to use the second record button again and actually play something that'll work as padding for this track. If you switch tabs back to the screen you loaded in on, this is actually where your loop recordings are stored, so you can see it recorded there on the track now. You have this box down here where you can edit the length and play area and note and anything else that's been recorded onto the track. This edit screen can be pulled up in either tab by double-clicking the track. This is just one long note, so I'm just going to cut it a bit so there isn't that awkward silence at the end before it repeats. Don't really like that either, so I'm going to drag it a bit more until I find something I do. Real quick, if you want to change when it starts, you can't just drag the time at the top. If you do it, it won't play, it'll just be silence like this. The same applies to notes, so you need to drag the start of the note itself, which is that brown bar, and then the timer, just as an FYI. You have to keep the start of the note or you lose the entire note pretty much. I like the way that sounds, so I'm gonna leave it like that. This is just me playing random notes on my keyboard again to figure out what I want to do with this sound. Still don't have a really clear idea of what I want to do with it besides make it another loop, so just listening to it with the other track right now. Maybe something like that. Yeah, that's fine, so let's edit that a little bit because I stopped in a weird place. So I'm just going back into the other tab and using the edit screen. You can see all the individual notes I played now, and you can edit each one along with start and ending. I'm gonna end it somewhere around there instead. That note is kind of in the way though, so let's get rid of that and then double click on the area with your mouse and you can add a note back in. A lot of people just click around and drag and use the edit menu to make music, and you can totally do it that way in this program too if you want. I just prefer using a physical keyboard because I play one, so it's easier for me. The velocity bar that you see at the bottom is your individual note's volume, and you can adjust that too if you want. The higher up, the louder the note is, and vice versa. Since I played this on a keyboard that has note sensitivity, you can see my velocity changing a bit depending on how hard I'm pressing on the keys, so it's compatible with instruments that have touch sensitivity too. Anyway, I think that sounds fine, so I'll go ahead and use that. Some sort of choir voice might sound cool with this. Me just pressing keys with this instrument rack to try to figure out what I like the sound of. I'm always a whore for reverb. This is a voice pack you can buy for Ableton, but it doesn't come with it by default, by the way. Maybe something like that. Now from this point on, I didn't really do anything too different or that I haven't already mentioned, so I'm going to skip forward a large chunk so this video isn't a million years long. Because to no one's surprise, it actually does take a bit of time to put together a music track and a lot of playbacks and repetition, which can get a bit annoying to hear over and over again if you're not the one making it. So I've added a few more tracks to this now, and I want to give it a fade out, so I'm going to trigger the annotation effects, which is this box up here, and make sure all of these tracks are going into the mixer and selecting track volume as the area I want to affect on them. I want to keep the volume where it is up to this point, so I'm setting my first markers here on all tracks and my second marker on the ends. Then I'm just dragging this marker all the way to the bottom, and that's going to slowly kill the volume and give them a sort of fade out. Now, there's something you have to do to the looped recordings first to get this to apply to them, and that's just exporting them and then dragging them back into the project, then applying this effect. Obviously, I didn't do that here though, so even though I'm setting this effect on them here, as an example, it's not going to export with it applied. Just as a heads up, in case you do try this and find it doesn't work on your own looped tracks. I eventually did turn off the 2 normally recorded tracks by clicking on their yellow track number boxes, then exported the 3 looped recorded tracks as an MP3 and dropped that back into the project to apply this effect to. Then re-exported all of the tracks together in the end for the final song. After setting all that crap up and adjusting individual track volume a little bit, it's good enough for this video anyway, so to export as an MP3 I'm going to go into the File, Export Audio Video section and make sure my settings are set like this, then name it and let it export. I was only recording the program in OBS, so when I changed into the menu it black screened the footage, so this is a JPEG with the settings, and as you can see the looped tracks have been re-imported as one track with the volume fade out applied. Otherwise, yeah, that's the very basics. There are a lot of really cool effects and things you can set up by routing tracks differently or adding modifiers and other fun stuff, but as far as the very basics go, this is enough to know to make a small track. As usual, you can select any area of the track you like and Ctrl-C to copy it and Ctrl-V to paste it, or Shift-D to duplicate it. You can zoom in and out with the plus and minus buttons on the keyboard to see better, move notes around, drag them out to be longer or shorter, or up and down to be different notes altogether, or select and press delete to delete them and add new ones by clicking in the note with a mouse. Lots of really cool fun stuff. If you're interested in making music yourself, definitely look up some more Ableton tutorials that go more in depth about certain aspects and have fun. That's it for this one though, later.